Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today for this video in which I am going to talk about my favorite things from the year 2021. Now obviously my favorite thing ever is travel. That's why I'm so passionate about it and why I like to learn so much about it and talk about it so much. Travel is my absolute favorite thing. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit in this review of my favorite things, in that I'm going to talk about my favorite hotels that I stayed in 2021. Second and third to travel, my two other favorite things are definitely books and movies. If you followed my channel for a while, or you follow me on Instagram, or you're my Facebook friend, you probably know that I really love to read. I read a lot. I read like 57 novels this year. I use Goodreads to help me keep track of what books I've read and what books I want to read. I'm a very active patron of our public library. And then the last thing that I would say is a real favorite of mine is movies, and specifically going to the movies at a movie theater. We have a great movie theater in our town. We love it very much. This has been a challenge during the pandemic because a lot of people don't have the same standards for safety as we do. And so our challenge during the pandemic, since the movie theaters have been open again, has been to go to the movies when there are as few people there, or preferably no other people besides us in the theater. So that's been a little tricky. We haven't had quite the same movie theater going experience, but I much prefer watching movies in the movie theater. I really don't like watching movies at home. For me, going to the movies is a whole experience in itself. It's not just watching a movie. The other challenge with movies during the pandemic has been that Hollywood just isn't releasing as many movies as they did before the pandemic. And that's because of safety during production of the movies themselves. You have to keep everybody who's making the movies safe too, so that can be tricky. In this video, I'm going to share with you my 3 favorite hotels that I stayed in 2021, my top 3 books that I read in 2021, and my top 3 movies that I saw in 2021. I am also going to share with you some more information about the books I read and the movies that I saw. And if you want to see every hotel I stayed in 2021, be sure to check out my room tours playlist. I do a room tour of every hotel room we stay in, and they're all on my channel, so you can watch those at your leisure. Okay, first let's talk about hotels. I didn't actually sit down and count how many hotels we stayed in this year, but it's probably, I really don't know. It's probably got to be close to 20 or something like that. I'm really not sure. I'd have to go back and count them. But I did figure out my top 3 hotels that I really enjoyed staying in, that I really liked the room, I really liked the property, I really had a good stay. And these are in no particular order. These are just my top 3. Number 1, Hilton, Washington, D.C. National Mall. This was a Hilton property that had been beautifully renovated inside. The rooms were very quiet. It was very luxurious. We really enjoyed it. It was very close to the National Mall and right next to the Spy Museum in Washington, D.C. We stayed there in June of 2021, and unfortunately, we only stayed there for one night. I definitely would have enjoyed staying in that room longer. So be sure to go back and check out our room tour and review of that hotel room. It's actually been very popular video. So a lot of people are either looking for someplace to stay in Washington, D.C., which can be tricky sometimes to figure out where's the best place to stay in Washington, D.C. I would definitely highly recommend that hotel. It was very nice. 3 things that we really, really liked about it were it was very quiet. It had 2 king beds, which was really nice for us. And the location was terrific. Okay, my second favorite hotel that we stayed at in 2021 was the Home2 Suites Minneapolis Mall of America. We stayed there twice, and each time it was only for one night. The first time we stayed there was in August before our flight to Boston, and we did the park and fly and left our car at the hotel and used the hotel shuttle to take us to and from the airport. It's a really nice new property. We really liked the rooms. The staff there was terrific. The customer service was great. It's a really great location if you need a hotel near the airport or near Mall of America. It's literally basically just across the street from Mall of America. The second time we stayed there was when we actually left a different Home2 Suites that we were dissatisfied with, that had some issues. And we just showed up, and they were able to accommodate us and get us a room, which we really appreciated and kind of like saved our trip. That was in October. So that was the second hotel that was a favorite of mine in 2021. The third hotel that I would call a favorite in 2021 was the Fairfield Inn and Suites in Northfield, Minnesota. Now, you may not have the opportunity. Why would you ever stay in Northfield, Minnesota? It's kind of an out-of-the-way location. It's south of the Twin Cities. I mean, maybe if you were taking Interstate 35 does go all the way from basically Canada to Mexico, or Canada to New Orleans, really. And so it does cross the entire country north to south. So if you were going along that route and for some reason you needed to stop and spend the night right about there, the other people that I think that are staying in hotels in Northfield a lot are somehow associated with the two colleges there. There's two colleges in Northfield, Minnesota, Carleton College and St. Olaf. So there may be a lot of people staying there for that reason. But this was another very new property. It was right on the little river, right downtown. It was a terrific location. The staff and customer service was great. And the room, for some reason, they gave us a handicap accessible room, and it was huge. And I just really enjoyed the spaciousness of that room and the way they set it up when we first entered the room with soft music playing and the lights dimmed. I just thought was such a nice touch. I've never seen a hotel do something like that before, and I just thought that was great. So we really enjoyed our stay at the Fairfield Inn and Suites in Northfield, Minnesota. So those were our top 3 favorite hotels that we stayed at in 2021. Okay, let's move on to movies. Now, in a normal year when there's not a pandemic and everything's not all weird, we see a lot of movies. We probably see anywhere between 24 and 50 movies in the movie theater a year. We love going to the movies. There's 3 things I do to help budget for and save money on going to the movies, okay? Number 1 is we go to matinees. It's very unusual for us to go to a movie at night, and especially during the pandemic, that's true because movies at night are almost always, except for maybe family or animated movies, are always going to be busier and have more people going to them because that's when people can go. But movies at night are more expensive, and that's an obvious supply and demand issue. So we try to always go to movies during the day, in the afternoon, or at the very latest, like 5 o'clock. So we save money by going to movies at matinees. Now, normally we would also put a lot of focus on going on Tuesdays, which at our movie theater and many other movie theaters do this too, is $5 day. Before the pandemic, we went on Tuesdays a lot. However, people have discovered $5 day, and so the movie theater, at least in our town, is actually very busy on Tuesdays. So we've actually been avoiding that during the pandemic. But that's another tip for you if you want to try to save money on going to the movies. The second thing that I do is I am a member at our local movie theater. They have a membership card, and every time we buy tickets, so every time you pay for a movie, you get points. And then you can redeem your points. Once you earn enough points, you get free popcorn, soda, and movies. We have gotten a ton of free stuff over the years from our movie membership. So we very frequently get free popcorn and soda, and then it takes a little longer, but we do, pretty regularly get free tickets too. So that's another way that I save. The other thing that our movie theater does, they don't do it consistently all the time, but they try to do it pretty often, is they give something free to the movie members. So like last month, I think it was nachos. We got a free thing of nachos, and they just automatically put it on every movie member's card. So the next time you went to the movie in that month, you can say, they'll tell you when they scan it when you buy your tickets, you have a free nacho. And so it's like, oh great, I'll take those then, and you just get them. So that's nice too. And then the third thing I do, which is not really a money saving tip, but more of a budgeting and staying on budget for the movies, is I plan movies ahead. I look ahead at IMDb release calendar or places like that, and I see what movies are going to be released in the upcoming months, and I plan how many of these movies am I going to want to see, and I actually make a list, and I keep a list all the time of what movies are coming up, what days are they going to be released, and I know exactly how much it costs to go to the movies, and that's before I get free stuff. If it's just me, if it's me and Megan, or me and Ben, or if it's all 3 of us. And so I know how much they cost, and I know who's going to want to see this movie. And so then I can budget how much money am I going to need. And I plan ahead by buying gift cards from our local movie theater. And then I use the gift cards to pay for going to the movies. Like right now, for example, my dad gave us a $120 gift card, gave our family like for a holiday gift. And then on Black Friday, the whole weekend of like Thanksgiving, our movie theater had a Black Friday sale. For every $50 you bought in gift cards, you got $10 in gift card free. So I went and bought another gift card for $100, but that meant I got $120 of gift card. So now I have over $200 in gift card that I can use. And I figured out it's going to cover like at least our next 6 movies, at least, because by then we'll probably have worked up enough points to get some tickets free and stuff too. So that's another way to do it. And then I'm never spending my own cash or anything for movies. I only have the gift cards. And they're always a little shocked when they swipe my gift cards because they're not used to people having that much gift card balance. But it's a really good tip for you if you like to go to the movies a lot like I do. That's a really good way to manage and budget for going to the movies. These are all the movies I saw in the movie theater in 2021. Raya and the Last Dragon, Cruella, A Quiet Place 2, Black Widow, Jungle Cruise, Free Guy, No Time to Die, and Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, I also need to add there's 2 movies that are coming out this year that I still plan to see, but have not seen at the time of filming this video. One of them is Encanto, and the other one is Spider-Man No Way Home, which literally just came out the day before I'm filming this video. So I do plan to see those 2, but I haven't seen them yet. I don't think that either of those would have made my top 3 favorite movies of 2021 anyway. So it probably wouldn't affect my favorites for 2021. But those are the movies I saw in the theater this year. I should also add, my kids went to some movies that I did not go to. Ben saw the latest Fast and Furious by himself. Megan went to Dune by herself. And the 2 of them together went to see The Eternals. So those are some additional movies that our family saw in the theater in 2021, but that I personally did not see. I also went to A Quiet Place 2 and No Time to Die a second time by myself. So I saw both of those movies twice in the theater. Okay, so what were my favorites? I'm going to say that my favorite 3, I had a tough time with this. I had a 4th one that I really, really enjoyed too. But I would say my top 3 movies that I liked the best in 2021 were the ones I just said that I went to more than once. Cruella, A Quiet Place 2, and No Time to Die. Obviously, I really enjoy a movie if I go to it twice in the theater. So those were my 3 favorite movies of 2021. I'm a huge James Bond fan. I have seen every James Bond movie that ever came out. My dad was a huge James Bond fan. And so, I was watching the James Bond movies back in the 70s when I was a kid. I love James Bond, and I thought No Time to Die was a really good send-off for Daniel Craig. Cruella, I just thought was fantastic. Did you guys see Cruella? I just thought the costuming and the stylization and the music and the story of it was just so fantastic. I really have to say, I think Cruella is the best live action Disney movie. You know, how they're like kind of remaking the animated classics. I think that was the best one they've ever done. I really enjoyed Cruella. And then A Quiet Place 2, I don't know why the heck. Those movies are terrifying, okay? And like they give me nightmares, but I don't know what it is about. I just think John Krasinski did a really amazing job of making those movies. And the kids, the emphasis on the kids and how the kids kind of take charge in the second one, I really liked. And just that concept of the fact that you have to be quiet, I just thought was such a unique and creative idea. And we've seen that in a couple other places too, where knowing sign language can save you in a really intense situation. Megan and I actually just recently watched The River Wild. I don't know what made me think of it. I'm like, hey, we should watch this one, another older movie that she had never seen. And when we started watching it, I'm like, oh, that's right. This is another movie where sign language kind of like saves the day. And so that was just kind of cool. But I really enjoyed A Quiet Place too. The fourth movie that I struggled to decide that I would say comes in fourth place for favorites in 2021 was Ghostbusters Afterlife. I just really enjoyed that movie and thought it was a really nice... I don't know if you know the story of how Harold Ramis, who has passed away now, had kind of a falling out with the rest of the cast from the original Ghostbusters movies, and that was kind of a sad story, and then he got very, very sick and died. I think this was kind of like Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd's, kind of love letter to Harold. It's actually dedicated to Harold, and I just thought it was really neat how they, brought the story back full circle, if you will. And if you didn't stay through the post-credit scene in that movie, you missed out because, spoiler, Sigourney Weaver's in there too. So I just really liked how they did everything with Ghostbusters Afterlife. And if you haven't seen the original Ghostbusters movies, you won't understand it at all. But go back and, I make my kids watch all those great movies from the 80s and 90s before we go to stuff like this. So they had seen Ghostbusters, so they really enjoyed it too. And again, I really liked how they made the kids in that movie kind of the heroes. I thought that was really cool. So those were my 3 favorite movies. Okay, for books, there's too many. I'm going to show you some footage that I took earlier on the computer, and I will put that in here in a little bit, showing you all the books that I read in 2021. And basically, with Goodreads, you rate your books from 1 to 5 stars. A good majority of the books that I read are going to get 3 or 4 stars. And I think of it like this. 1 is I absolutely hated it, or I didn't like it enough to even finish the book. 2 is I really didn't like it. I probably finished it, but it just didn't sit well with me, or I didn't enjoy it, or whatever. 3 stars is I liked it. It was fine. I was able, I read the whole book and it was okay. And yeah, it was good enough. 4 is I really liked it. And I'll catch myself when I'm reading a book like that thinking, I really like this book. And then 5 stars is I loved it. I absolutely loved this book. Something about the book really resonated with me, or really stuck with me, or it brought me to tears, or I couldn't wait to go read it at night at bedtime. I was just absolutely looking forward to finding out what was going to happen, or something like that. So if a book gets 4 or 5 stars from me, that's a book that I'm going to recommend to you because I really liked it, or I absolutely loved it. I chose my 3 favorite books of 2021 from the 5-star books that I read. All right, this is my 2021 reading challenge, and I set a goal this year for 42 books. And as of the date I'm filming this, which is December 16th, I have read 55 books, and I think I will read, I'm almost done with the one I'm reading now, and then I have one more book that I will definitely finish before the end of the year, and I might start but probably not finish another one. So by the end of the year, I will probably have read 57 books. And you can see up here in the corner, over 5,600,000 people participated in this year's reading challenge. And the average books pledged were 53. And I read more than that. And these are all of the books I read. Now this is in reverse order. So this is the last one I read before what I'm reading now. And if you hover over it, you can see what I rated it, and it shows that I read it and the description. So I'm just going to scroll down here so you can see all the books I read in 2021. Here we go. Here's my Goodreads 2021 My Year in Books. They do this for you at the end of every year. And it shows 55 books. I will by the end of the year have read 1 or 2 or possibly 3 more than that. I read 17,345 pages. I'm gonna like it. The longest book I read, Anthony Horowitz's Magpie Murders. That was a long one, 498 pages. I was gonna read another one in this series after this, but I was so intimidated by the length I decided not to. And this is a picture book that I read with Ben, so that's why that's the shortest book. That was a really lovely book, by the way. There's some really amazing picture books that even I enjoy as an adult. So don't stop reading to your kids, even when they're teenagers, because there's some great stuff that you can read together with your kids. Okay, the average book length for me in 2021 was 315 pages. The most popular book that I read was People We Meet on Vacation. This also won in Goodreads Reader's Choice Awards for Best Romance in 2021, and I did vote for it. And this was the least popular, so not a lot of people knew about this book. My average rating was 3.6, and the highest rated book on Goodreads, which I also rated 5 stars, was this one, The Man Who Died Twice. My first rating of the year. And then here are all the books I read in 2021, and yeah, I'm not sure that the one that I showed you before, it makes the books bigger that I gave higher ratings to, although not always. That's not totally true. But I mean, I know, yeah, that one I gave 5 stars to. This one I gave 5 stars to. Did you read any of these books that I read that are here? Put it in the comments below if you read any of these and tell me what you thought of it. All right, from all those books that I read this year, I am going to say that my 3 favorites were God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen by Rhys Bowen, which is number I don't even know what in the series of her Royal Spinous Mysteries. I love everything British, and I'm actually a big fan of the royal family, so that's probably why, and British history, and that's probably why, and I love mysteries, so that's probably why I really like those books, and this one was one of the best I've read. I really enjoyed it. The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman, which was the second in a series. The first book was The Thursday Murder Club, which I also read in 2021, but I liked the second one better. I gave 4 stars to The Thursday Murder Club, and I gave 5 stars to The Man Who Died Twice. Also, again, another British murder mystery type thing, but set in modern day in a retirement community. And then the third one that I would say was my favorite was People You Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I really enjoyed because the setting was travel, and I love any kind of book that has to do with travel. So those are my top 3 books of 2021 that were my favorites. So how about you guys? What were your favorite things in 2021? Could be hotels, could be movies, could be books, could be something I mentioned or something else. Share your favorites in the comments below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope everyone is safe and well, and that you have a good start to 2022. Safe travels.